And we are recording now. This is Jason Everett. I'm with Amatrol. Today, thanks for joining in on the webinar. Today we're going to take a look at some of the e-learning topics that we've created. We'll start off with just a brief history of Amatrol and what we're doing here at Amatrol. That'll last real quick. Then we'll move into the e-learning content and show you some great e-learning courses that we've developed over the last 15, 20 years. Then we're going to go more into benefits of e-learning. And then finally, we're going to wrap up the webinar with how to use these e-learning courses and some other content that we created to tie into nationally recognized certification. So I'll start off with, can everybody see my screen? I'm hoping everybody can see my screen because I got it up and running, and I'm going to start moving through some screens here. But just on our landing page of our Amatrol, www.amatrol.com, just a brief history of Amatrol. We've been in business for over 30 years. We're located in Jeffersonville, Indiana. We manufacture training equipment that teaches hands-on skills for advanced manufacturing, industrial maintenance, mechatronics, and even green energy. And really what separates us from everybody else is that not only do we manufacture this training equipment here in the USA, but also we develop the curriculum that goes along with it. So here at Amatrol, we have about 170 employees. 40 of those employees, their full-time job is to develop and maintain curriculum. Right now is what we're looking at is our advanced manufacturing flowchart. We manufacture over 200 different types of hands-on trainers, but then also we have over 300 unique courses that we develop curriculum for. A lot of those are tied to the trainer, and some of them are topics such as safety or lean manufacturing that are not tied to a trainer. But I just want to show you this flow chart that we put together. It's on our website of the 200 different types of trainers and how they're all related. You have electrical trainers, electronics, process control, quality assurance, manufacturing processes, fluid power. To put this in perspective, this electrical pathway right here, the green boxes, it's over 200 hours of training, over 300 industry skills that the student would learn just going through the green boxes here for electrical. And you can see with all the boxes together, there's thousands of hours of training and there's thousands of skills that are tied to industry and in high demand by industry right now. The curriculum that we developed is consistent. So for every single learning system that we developed, and when I talk about learning system, I'm talking about a combination of curriculum and hands-on trainer. For every single learning system that we create, the curriculum is delivered in the same exact way. So every single box represents a trainer that at least one trainer that we developed here at Amatrol. Their curriculum is going to be delivered in the same exact way for every single one of them that you see here on the screen. And that's a little bit of the history of Amatrol, and I know I could go on and on about that, but for right now we'll get into the e-learning content, and I'll slide over and show you some of the curriculum that we developed. Some of it's going to be tied to trainers, others not, but we'll kind of walk our way through this. But when you log on to learnamatrol.com, you come to the landing page, and you'll notice that this is our learning management system, a learning management system that stands alone that Amatrol developed. It does have a login and password, so I'm just going to log in and put my password in. It's going to bring me to the home screen. You'll notice that there's a lot of administrative features here inside the Amatrol LMS. We're not really going to get into these today. We're going to focus more on the content, the e-learning courses. But if you want to follow up this webinar with a administrator webinar to see how to give students access to the curriculum as an instructor or administrator how to administer the site and monitor student progress as they're going through the courses, then we can follow up that with another webinar. If you would like, just let us know. But like I said, it's a standalone learning management system that has all these reporting features. And one thing I should mention, all this content that we're going to look at is also SCORM compliant. And we can pipe this content, the Amatrol eLearning courses, into your school's LMS also. So if you have Blackboard, Canvas, Desire to Learn, we can also pipe in our eLearning content to your school's LMS, and there's advantages to do that. So if you want more information on that, we can definitely answer those questions later. When you log in, I'm just going to show you the library here. I'll expand this library. And you'll see the headings look really similar to the advanced manufacturing flow chart that we started off with. So you have electronics, you have electrical, you have fluid power topics, green energy, lean manufacturing, on down the line. When I expand one of these topic areas, we see the e-learning courses for automation in this instance. So you'll see that we have a lot of e-learning courses for automation, electronics, a lot of courses, e-learning contents for electronics, electrical, a lot of e-learning courses for electrical, and I can go on and on. When I expand these out, we're going to take a look at what we call modules. And if you're familiar with Amatrol, we used to call these, when they're printed, we used to call these LAPs, learning activity packets. But when we moved to multimedia and then later on to e-learning, we started calling these modules. So for this one course, there are 10 modules. To put this in perspective, each module is about 4 to 5 hours of training, both hands-on and theory. So for this course, one course right here, you're looking at 40 to 50 hours of training in electric motor control. And I can go down through any of these courses, and they have a variety of different modules, 3 modules there, 7 or 8 modules there, 3 modules there. So you can get a sense of the scale and the size of this e-learning library. There's over 300 unique courses and over 3,000 hours of content right here. So one thing that if you expand this out, and this is just the curriculum outline, and what I want to highlight here is the Amatrol Cadence. Every single course, every single rectangle on that advanced manufacturing flowchart is consistent. It's always, we deliver our courses in always the same exact way. And you'll see that each module is broken down into segments, in this case 3 segments. Each segment is broken down into objectives and skills. The objective is the theory. The skill is the time when the student goes over to the trainer and performs the hands-on skill. So it's always a little bit of theory followed by a skill, a little bit of theory followed by an activity or a skill, a little bit of theory followed by a skill. Always giving the student a little bit of information, teaching them a new topic, and then having them go over to the trainer and apply that topic, that learning, by doing a skill on the trainer. So that is what we call the Amatrol Cadence, and like I say, it is consistent for every single e-learning course, over 300 courses, and every single trainer, over 200 different trainers, hands-on trainers that we develop. So that cadence is the same exact way with every single piece of equipment that we develop. So for right now, I'm going to jump out of this Amatrol library, the 300 courses. I'm just going to focus on the sales demo for right now. And it's what this is, it's just bits and pieces. We're pulling just interactions from different segments and different modules from e-learning courses, so you can get a kind of a look and a feel of the graphics and how we present topics and how we always have the student engage in the learning and move the mouse. And so I'll open this up, this demo. And I just have it broken up into different topic areas. I'm just going to go into electrical here, objective followed by a skill. I'm going to just pull open this objective.
Describe the operation of a manual switch.
And I'm just going to let this run through a couple screens just and let it do the talking right now. So you can kind of get a look and feel of how to navigate from screen to screen and how a student's going to interact with this e-learning.
The circuit is said to be closed if there is a complete path for current to flow from the positive terminal to the negative terminal. The graphic here shows a closed circuit. The path for the current flow is complete, so electricity flows through the lamp. If the path is broken in some way, the circuit is said to be open. The graphic shows an open circuit where the current path has been broken. The current flow is stopped and the lamp is not on. There are two main components of a manual switch: operation and contacts. Switches are commonly used in electrical circuits to control when the power is supplied to an output device, such as a light or a machine. With a switch, you can safely start and stop the current flow.
Okay, and I'm going to stop it. I'm going to stop it right there for a minute. Obviously, this is a very basic electrical class. This is our first level basic AC/DC class, so we're just learning some of the basics of electric switches, manual switches. You notice the voice over text. So for every single e-learning course that we have voice over text. You can turn that on or off right here. And for the rest of the presentation, I'm going to actually turn it off, and because I can maneuver through screens quicker with this turned off. So I just wanted to let that run through a couple screens just to let you know that you do have that option to have it read to you. And that is a big advantage with English as a second language and low-level readers, that they can have this read to them. You can reload the course and repeat it. And then one other thing I want to let you know about is that we have a rule of thumb here at Amatrol that we have limit the number of words per screen to somewhere between 30 and 40. And the idea, we don't want it reading gobs of text without the student moving the mouse. So here's a good example of that. We have, several words here under 40. I don't know how many exactly, but we do have under 40. And we also have these blue words are dictionary words. So if I wanted to know the definition of components, I could click on that, and it's going to tell me what a component is. Obviously, that's a pretty simple one, but they get more complex as we get to higher level courses. Here, again, I already scrolled over these, but I want to know what the operator is, and it highlights what the operator is. I want to know what the contacts are, and it highlights the contacts and then gives me a definition there. So we're always making the student engage in the learning and move the mouse by limiting the number of words and having embedded interactions on the screen. And this is a low-level interaction. We're going to get to ones that are higher level as we proceed through the content. But I just want to show you some more interactions. Here's one where you actually learned about that knife switch, and now you're going to operate it. So you can see the light bulb turning off and on when I operate the switch. Now we did an objective. So we finished this objective, describe the operation of a manual switch. Now we're going to do a skill. And I'm going to proceed to the definition. We're going to talk about manual switches here. And now it's time to use a simulator to perform a skill. And embedded in, I told you over 300 courses, there's probably 15 or 20 of them that have what we call a virtual component to them, or they have a virtual simulator to it. And this is a good example of that. So say I wasn't close to the lab where I could go over to the piece of equipment and perform the hands-on skill. I was at home or at Starbucks or in the library, but I still wanted to perform the skill. This course right here for basic AC/DC has this virtual component to it. So in essence, is what I'm doing. This is the step-by-step procedures to perform the skill, and this is my virtual environment where I build the circuit. So I'm just going to freestyle it here by just putting down a power supply, putting down some components here, a lamp, push button switch. Then I'm going to add my leads. Turn on my, first I'll turn that on, and then I'll crank up my voltage to about 14 volts. Press the button and you see that the light comes on. Every single student in the world is going to always say, hey, I'm going to crank this thing up as high as it goes and see what happens. Well, let's see what happens. I press the button and the light breaks. Well, this is a learning opportunity here. Why did the light break? Hit that. You've broken the bulb by supplying more voltage than the bulb can handle. It surpassed its rating, so that's a learning opportunity for us. If I can replace that bulb. Save. I'm going to click this down here, drop this down to 14 again. Big thing about this trainer, and like I said, is the basics of electricity. So a big learning objective of this trainer is to have students learn to use the multimeter. And in this case, we do have the virtual multimeter that you use in this course to take some readings. And you can see that I'm reading 14 volts here. So the basic principles of the multimeter, they can learn in a virtual environment. If I do something that I'm not supposed to do with the virtual multimeter, like take a resistance reading with the power on, you can see I can blow up the multimeter. So with virtual courses, anything you can do in the real world, it's going to act as what you would see in real life course, in real life.
But safer?
Safer and cheaper.
Cheaper.
So let me make sure I get the right tab. I don't want to. Okay, so just to go down to, we've seen some electrical. Now let's just see some, mechanical and measurement systems. And here we're talking about how to measure with calipers. A basic skill of industrial maintenance, basic skill of machining. Here, same thing. This is a virtual course, so I can add my object here, which is shaft number 3. Add I can do it with a tape measure, or ruler, digital calipers or dial calipers. I like the digital. I'm going to go easy here. So is what I do, I turn this on. I would unscrew that, zero this out. And out. A little bit more. And take my reading. Then I would record that reading in the data sheet provided. So this is just another example of a virtual course.
Hey, Jason, there's a question on the chat.
Okay.
Marshall want to know if you have a list of what modules have the simulators?
Yeah, I'll show you that here in a second, and that's a great question because I don't want to mislead you in thinking that every single course has a virtual trainer. They don't. If you would look down at the Amatrol Library, we'll jump back out into this again, and you look back out into here, and let's just go to fluid power here. You'll see the prefix E, V, and W. Any course that has an E is an e-book. So by e-book, this is what I mean. It's a page turner, and it's a PDF of the course, and it's a course that we're in the process of developing an interactive course, and an interactive course is what we're going to see the rest of the way. But of the 300 courses, I would say 10 to 15% of them are going to be ebooks, and in general, these ebooks are trainers that we don't have as many out in the field as we do other trainers. So if we go back to that list here, that's an example of an ebook. Anything with a V is going to be a virtual trainer. So to give you kind of an estimate of the number of virtual trainers in the e-learning library, over 300 courses, there's probably 15 to 20 virtual trainers. Now the rest of them, the vast majority, are going to be these W courses. These are web courses. These are interactive web courses, and that's what I'm going to show you the majority of the content. And as you can see, the majority of them, as you go down through here, are going to be W's. So those are the interactive courses, and that's really every course that's in this Amatrol demo is either a virtual course or a web course that has that interactivity to it. So just kind of finish. Go back into the demo here. So manufacturing, if we go into manufacturing, pop this open here.
Describe the history of plastics.
And I'm going to turn the sound off just so I can maneuver through the pages a little bit quicker, but this is going to explore the history of plastics. And while this loads up, is what you're going to see is a timeline. Here again, you know, our curriculum department could just make this 30 web pages in a row talking about what happened in each one of these years with plastics. But here again, we're trying to engage the student to move the mouse and explore the screen. They want to see, okay, when was this plastics discovered and what were the first products of plastics? Okay, what happened at the turn of the century with plastics? What happened when my grandpa was born? What happened when I was born? And what's going on now with plastics? So this is just a way to have the student engage the screen, engage the learning, and move the mouse. And I can go through every single one of those. Here we're going to look at injection molding, and really the idea of me showing this to you right now is just to have you get a look and feel for the types of interactions and the types of graphics that we're using. As you can see here, this would be hard to simulate with a video, but I think once a student can really see the graphics and the cutaways and the shading of that injection molding process, they really understand a mold. Here we're going to explore the two different types of injection molders. Plunger type and the screw plunger type. You can see the screw filling up the mold there. Jump down into some CNC. Talking about the movements of a lathe here. And you actually have the interaction where you actually, the student gets to move the lathe. So they can really drive home that point of moving, you know, the different axes of a lathe and how to move them, and the different sign notations there, the plus and minus sign. Some sensors here, you know, and like I said, this is just some random interactions that we pulled out of the entire library just so you can get an idea of what our e-learning looks like. Here again, proximity. If a student forgets what proximity means, here's a good definition of it right here. So we move to this course, we're going to learn about the different types of sensors and the characteristics of sensors. I can explore each one of these, or I can move on, and I'll just move on here real quick. Here's a great interaction. We have some different types of sensors up here. We have small inductive and a large inductive. We have small capacitive and large capacitive, and we have some different types of material down here. So if I pick up this aluminum block and put it in front of the sensor, you'll notice that it hits on every single, it activates on every single sensor. If I pick up this wood block, you'll see that, yeah, on the capacitive it works, but on the inductive, it's not going to trigger the sensor, and that drives home the point that the inductive sensor only works on metallic substances. Just a way to have the student engage in the learning and do some activities. Robotics, these are some good, you know, you get some good graphics, good feel for graphics here. Some of the advantages of a pick-and-place robot. We go down here to vision systems. You can see some of the, this is a relatively newer course. This came out about 2 or 3 years ago, so you can see the graphics that we're producing now are a little bit better than some of the older courses. We're going back through some of the older courses and updating those. This is a great interaction here. We're talking about human versus manual inspection versus automatic inspection. So this is the part, this is oblong here, so it's a bad part. It's supposed to be perfectly circular. Here's a great interaction. This is the good part, and they're going to put 10 or 15 parts up here on the screen, and I'm going to, as a student, manually determine if they're good parts or bad parts. So I'm going to click this, and I'm going to say, okay, this is a good one. I'm trying to get through this pretty quick.
Hey, Jason, I actually think you're moving, and the webinar isn't keeping up.
Okay.
Just so you're aware.
Okay. So I'm manually inspecting these parts, and I'm just, you know, trying to get through this pretty quick here. And you'll see that I inspected manually 15 parts. My average time per part was 1.473 seconds, and my accuracy was only 40%. So I was terrible as doing manual inspection. But the point here is that we're comparing vision systems, or an automatic system, versus the manual inspection, and you can see that by using a vision system, it would only take 0.089 seconds to determine if that part was good or not, and with 100% accuracy. So that really that's an interaction that really drives home the advantage of a vision system. and then you'll see it in operation and how a vision system would recognize that this bottle does not have a label on it and it needs to be kicked out. Process control. You can see some interactions with process control. Here manually I can open up this valve here to put water in the tank, and I can control this PID controller to monitor the flow out of the tank to keep the desired level. Here's what we call a knowledge check. So we just gave the student a brief understanding of process control, and now we're going to check to make sure they understood it by having them fill in these blanks and identifying these components of a process loop. Did I get them right? Wow, I got them right. I just guessed it too. And then here's a good one for safety. You know, this is a part of all of our electrical trainers. We always teach proper safety before safety is always the first topic that comes up on any of the trainers. Here we're talking about electrical safety, and as the most important part of electrical safety, lockout and tagout. So we just taught the theory of lockout tagout. Now we're going to have this interaction where I have a moving part and moving motor down here, and I'm just going to, and I'm supposed to perform this lockout tagout. I can go over here to the main disconnect and hit that, and that's not the process that we just taught. So you can see I can go to the control panel, and that's not the process that we just taught. The process that we just taught was that we're supposed to stop the motor, turn the power off at the control panel, turn the power off at the main disconnect, apply the latch, apply the lock, apply the tag. And I've done a good job. So now is what I'll do. I'll kind of switch over to a student's view. That was more of a focus on the content. One advantage of using eLearning is that right now I'm in the instructor view. I'm going to switch over to student view. I'm going to go down here to a couple courses that I've taken myself, and they're in electrical and they're in motor control. And first of all, before I show you that, I'm going to show you this basic AC/DC course. And you can see that we have it set up, and this is an option for an instructor that they can have the student take a pre-quiz prior to launching the curriculum and take a post-quiz after they launch the curriculum. So in this course right here for sequence control, I can't launch the material until I go in here and take the pre-quiz. And once I take the pre-quiz, you'll see this button will highlight. I can launch the curriculum and then take the post-quiz. So what you'll see as an instructor is the knowledge gain, hopefully, from the pre-quiz to the post-quiz. And you can see that some of them are off, but in general, most of them are going to be, okay, this is what they knew going in, 67% of the material covered in control ladder logic. What they knew coming out was 100%, so that knowledge gain there was significant. This is a good reporting feature. If you're doing workforce development, there's a report that you can run where you're training electricians. You can test them prior to the training, and then after the training, you can report that back to your customer and show the customer the knowledge gain, and that's value for their money. So just one of the training, the options that you can see, and the reporting features that you can see using the eLearning. There's other reporting features. And for right now, I'm going to log out of this account. I'm going to log into another account, and this account's a little bit busy, but the reason why I want to do this is to show you some of the new e-learning content. And this e-learning content is going to be focused around the new NINS industrial maintenance certification. So as part of Amatrol's development of curriculum, and we've been developing curriculum for over 20 years, and we've developed a lot of curriculum. We have these huge libraries. We've formed partnerships with nationally recognized certification agencies like NIMS, the National Institute of Metalworking Skills, and MSSC, which I can go down to this library here, MSSC, for the Certified Production Technician certification. So we've partnered with them to develop curriculum that aligns to those certifications. The one I really want to focus on here is NIMS Industrial Maintenance. This is a new certification, and it's focused at the 9, what we call, or NIMS calls, duty areas of industrial maintenance. Maintenance operations, mechanical systems, hydraulics, pneumatics, electrical, electronic control, process control, maintenance, and welding. When we expand these out, and let's just take a look at, maybe hydraulic systems here. You'll see the course, it starts off with a little bit of safety, and then hydraulic systems 1, hydraulic systems 2, troubleshooting, and then hydraulics maintenance. A big focus of this certification is built around troubleshooting, so every one of these duty areas is going to have a troubleshooting topic, and if we expand this out and launch this course, let's just run through a couple screens of what NIMS would look like. You can see that it does have the Amatrol logo when you log in, but it also has the NIMS, what we call a skin. It's going to have that same look and feel as Amatrol, but it is all focused on the NIMS industrial maintenance curriculum. I'm going to turn the power off, or sound off. You'll see some of these graphics are really going to be the highest level graphics that we can see. This will walk you through schematics and how to troubleshoot and interactions, and this is some really good content here focused around this certification. There's a knowledge check that's built in. And more about hydraulics troubleshooting. I just want to, make you aware that this is a separate library. This NINS library is a separate library than what we saw before. The Amatrol library that we looked at before is right here. Just to talk about some advantages of e-learning and what I've seen schools around the country do with e-learning is really opening up the lab, flipping the classroom, running hybrid models. When I show e-learning, a lot of times people confuse e-learning with a totally online course, and we never want to say that these are totally online courses. It's a combination of online courses that students can go through either in the lab or away from the lab, and and hands-on skills that they perform only in the lab. So we like to call those hybrid courses also, a combination of theory where the students working on theory outside of the classroom and then coming into the lab to perform the hands-on skills. So that's a big benefit of what we see schools around the country using e-learning for to efficiently run their programs. So, you know, in an open lab environment, you can have 7 or 10 or 20 pieces of machinery or training equipment inside the lab, and maybe 20 or so students in the lab working on different trainers and different courses within the school's program. So it's a way to give flexibility to a program.
Hey, Jason, there's another question. There was another question that popped up about NIMS.
Okay. Yeah, and really, right now, that's kind of the gist of it. I mean, if anybody wants to go in deep to any of these courses, if you want any demos of any of these courses, we'd be happy to set you up. We can send you an e-learning demo for the NIMS content, for any of the Amatrol content. If you want to take a look at it, we'd be happy to do that. And if you want to go in deeper and see some of the topics, we can arrange another time for that. If you want to see the administrative features of the LMS, the Amatrol LMS, then we can schedule another webinar for that. But really, right now, I'd just like to kind of open it up for some questions just to make sure we're respectful of everybody's time and get everybody off the phone here at 12 noon. Any questions?
Jason, there was a question about the NIMS modules going to be available to those who have the entire library, or is that a special class? Is that a special library that would be separate or have to pay a different fee for?
That's a great question. It is separate. NIMS, the NIMS library or the NIMS duty areas is going to be completely separate from the Amatrol library, so it's a different cost structure for the NIMS content as it is the Amatrol content, and that's due to that partnership with NIMS. That's a great question. The way you buy NIMS content, you can pick and choose any of the duty areas, and if you wanted just to run a course in one of the duty areas in maintenance operations, then you buy just the activation codes for that duty area. If you want to buy them for basic pneumatic systems, you buy activation codes just for basic pneumatic systems. And in general, the schools that are gearing up for NIMS, I don't really have any of them that are looking at all 9 duty areas. They're really looking to focus on several of them, 4 or 5 or 6 of them, and just because of time. There's not a lot of time to go through all 9 of them in a 2-year degree.
And then, Jason, I just have a question. You talked about timing up at the Amatrol library of it being about 4 to 5 hours per course. Is there, looking at the NIMS, would you say that's relatively the same model? Like if you just open up basic hydraulics and looked at those courses in it, is that 4 hours per title, or how would you break that out?
I would almost give this a little bit more time. I would almost say 5 to 6 hours per module. So we're looking here at NIMS Duty Area 3, Basic Hydraulic Systems. All of these are going to start off with safety, and safety here related to hydraulics maintenance. This is no skills are involved in this, so you're going to get through this pretty quick. But these next ones, this hydraulic systems 1, I would say almost say 5 to 6 hours to get through the skills and the theory for this module right here. So, you know, and just to explain something in more detail, this wrench here and this TV screen here, these are the same courses, and you can see that the numbering is the same. This wrench for schools that have Amatrol equipment that is, they would have, in this case, Amatrol hydraulic equipment, and they can perform the skills on those hydraulic Amatrol trainers. And this TV screen right there is for schools that do not have Amatrol equipment, and we've turned the skills off. So in that case, if you do not have any Amatrol hydraulic systems, you can still run through the theory. You'll just have to come up with your own skills on your own training systems at your school. That's a good question, Tom.
Good.
Any other questions?
Nope. That answered it. Thank you.
Okay. Tom, can you think of anything else that you think I need to go over again?
No, I just think that you know, you've done a good job of actually showing the different levels of the curriculum, and that it's just not, you know, it's just not a page turner, it's interactive. And then also simply that there is you know, opportunity to show growth, you know, to give a gauge of what you know, and then go in and take the courses, and you get to see what you've learned. And just having this available in the conversations I've had throughout Illinois, and looking at classes and how to take care of today's student, whether it's a credit or non-credit, the e-learning platform is really opening up doors to not only the colleges, but really the students who are able to take advantage of this curriculum, but maybe couldn't necessarily meet at a certain time throughout when a course was offered, if it was just offered on Monday nights, and maybe the student worked Monday nights, so they were kind of shut out for that semester. So a lot of good conversations about it.
Right, right. You know, and I always like to say we have summer instructor training here at Amatrol, and in the first day of that training, we take the instructors on a tour of Amatrol, and I go up to the stairs to the curriculum department, and one of the questions that I always ask them is you as instructors, are you ever asked to develop your own curriculum? And they moan and groan, and some of them say, yeah, oh man, it takes forever to, you know, develop my curriculum, or I'm a brand new instructor and I just started with the program, and the guy before me was here for 20 years, and when he left, he took all his curriculum with him, so I'm left with nothing. And there's nothing worse than being stuck in front of a group of kids and not have any curriculum, not have anything for them to do. Is what I like to say is the wheel's already created. We've already created the curriculum, the foundation for your course, and I don't like to say that it's 100% of the course, but I like to say it's maybe 60 to 70% the foundation of the course, and that other 30 or 40% are what the instructor can add value to that course by tying it to their subject matter expertise, their years of experience in the field, their tie to local industry, and making it relevant, the training relevant to the local industry, and that really adds value to these courses. You know, we have a rule of thumb here at Amatrol that for every 1 hour of training output, and when I say 1 hour, that's where, you know, we're talking about each one of these modules is going to be 4 to 5 hours, or around 5 hours of training. For every 1 training hour, we put in about 200 man-hours for every 1 training hour output. So for each one of these modules, if it's 5 hours of training, that's about 1,000 man-hours that we put in our curriculum department to develop course. So it's a lot of time, and that's we're 40 people here at Amatrol. Their full-time job is to develop and maintain curriculum. Like I say again, the wheel has been created already. It's already been invented. The foundation is there. You know, the other 30 or 40% is what schools should focus on by adding more value on top of what we already have created. Any other questions? Well, if not, then we'll just close out here. And again, this is Jason Everett from Amatrol. And if you have any questions, you feel welcome to email me or call me here at Amatrol. And or Tom or Dan or anybody with Moss, we can all help you out. And if there's no other questions, then we'll sign off.
All right, thanks, Jason.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jason.
Thank you.